The next part of the mouse to create is the track wheel or middle mouse button. So to do that, we need to create a sketch and create an opening for that mouse wheel. I'm going to start by initiating the sketch command. I'm going to find the circle, the center diameter circle, or C. And again, I want to pick this plane that splits the mouse right down the center there. So select that plane. And I want to create essentially the hole for the mouse wheel. And I want to start the center of that somewhere down in the mouse. And I click one time to set the center point, one click, and I pull the mouse away and I click a second time. Imagine the wheel protruding out of the mouse. And I click a second time to set that. Now, if I'd like to make a change to that, it's pretty simple to do. I can click and hold, and I can find something called the sketch point. And with that selected, I can move that around. If that's difficult to do, I can temporarily turn off these pieces. It lets me click and drag and move this around to make minor adjustments. I can also drag the outside of the circle to change the diameter. Once I'm happy with that, I can look at that in 3D. Looks good. I say stop sketch. And now I go to modify, press pull, or Q. I select this circle I just drew, and by dragging the arrow across, I notice it's going to cut, and you can see at the top here, create an opening for the mouse. The problem is it's only cutting from one side over, and that's where my extrude menu comes into play. I want to change the direction from one side to symmetric, and now as I drag the arrow, it's keeping that centered about the mouse. Now I can decide what thickness I want this opening to be, or I can type in a dimension. I'm going to go ahead and type one in here. And I'll say OK when I'm happy with that. And there it is. I've got an opening in the top here for that track wheel. See, it follows the curve. It's a great opening, just what we need. Now I want to go ahead and find that sketch. That's going to be sketch 2. Use a light bulb to turn it on because I want to use it as a reference to actually make the wheel now. So I'm going to create another sketch. I'm going to create a circle, center diameter. I'm again going to pick that middle vertical plane. And using this sketch as a reference, I can click on the same center point. That sketch 2 is turned on. Click the center point, it's going to snap to that. So these two line up. And I want to make this circle just slightly smaller than the original. So I can type in a dimension, or I can zoom in and find that. Click a second time, it's going to set that circle. A quick side note, if you're finding that it's a little bit jumpy when you're sketching out, look at your grid and snaps and make sure snap to grid and incremental move are turned off, and you'll have a smoother experience there. Once I'm happy with that, I'll say stop sketch. And now I notice I can turn off my sketch 2. I've got this sketch 3 just inside of that, and that's going to be for the wheel. Go ahead and turn off sketch 2. And with sketch 3 visible, I'm going to do a modify, press and pull. Click on that sketch, that's the wheel size. Change my direction to symmetric, and I can flip to a top view by clicking the top here. And I can use this blue arrow to drag this out and create the wheel. Now I don't want to go too far. If I go too far, I'm going to exaggerate. It's going to start to cut, and that means that they're overlapping. I can force this to be a new body, but that new body is not fitting in the hole. I don't want to do that. I'm going to change this to keep it a new body and drag this in so it's just inside. Now I know that my last one I did 3.5, so something like 3.4 will be just shy of the hole. And I can say OK. And there it is. I've got the opening and now a wheel just inside. Now I can add some detail to this. One of the easiest things I can do is go to Modify, fillet, grab each side of the wheel, and this little blue arrow lets me drag that in and round off the wheel. I'll round off the side, something like that, and say OK. And I can also give this wheel some material. So go to Appearance. Maybe I want to make this the blue plastic. I'll drag and drop. And there we go. Alright, so I've got the wheel, I've got the top, I've got the bottom. I want to name this wheel. I right click or double click and do wheel. And now I want to add in a chord for this mouse. I'm going to do that by using the sketch command. I'm going to go to sketch. I'm going to do a spline. I'm going to pick the ground plane this time. That orients me to my top view. I'm going to start somewhere out here a little ways. Click, click. I want to bring that just inside of the mouse. Somewhere in here. I do this little checkbox to make that spline what it needs to be. And now I have these extra additional tools here now. These green lines I can use to really control what the spline is. I can drag the spline lines around. I can orient these so that this will behave the way I'd like it to. So make these adjustments, get this to look how you'd like it to look. Once you're happy with that, there's one final step. You'll notice this chord is sitting on the ground, which is fine until I get inside of the mouse here. And here I don't want it on the ground. I want to move that up. So I select this point, the last point in the mouse here, and I can right click and I can pick move. And with that, I get a little triad and I can drag that up off the ground. If it doesn't drag, that means it might be constrained. I might need to select something else to get it to work. But let's try one more time. There we go. Had to grab the right thing. So I drag that up off the ground, somewhere like that. So the line is now going into the mouse. If I click on the front view, I should get a clear view. The chord's laying on the ground, it comes up, and it drags up inside of the mouse. And I can move some of these others as well. I can say, okay, on that one, pick a different point and say move. And I can drag this up as well if I'd like to, a little bit off the ground. So there it is. I say stop sketch when I'm happy with it. You can see this purple line here. That just picked up a little bit of context when you overlap bodies and lines. Sometimes that happens. They're there to be useful. You can turn that feature off if you'd like. Alright, so there is that line. Next step is to create a pipe. And it asks me to select a path. That's this wavy line I selected. So there it is. Distance, so 1 means it's going to go the entire length. If I did halfway, it's only going to go halfway there. Definitely want to go the whole way, so do 1. Section size, I can drop this down. Something that makes more sense for the chord for the mouse. And I can select new body to make sure it's its own element. It's a new body. If I wanted to, I could make it hollow. I'm going to leave mine solid. That's fine for now. And say OK. And there is that chord. So pretty cool. One last trick. I could do modify. And there's something called combine. And I can pick my target body as the mouse. I can pick my tool body as this chord. And instead of join, I can say cut. That's going to make a hole for me here. But I want to keep the original chord. So I want to say keep tools and say OK. And now there's a hole there. So if I turn off this body 4, I'm going to rename it by double clicking on it. This is the chord. Turn that off and notice I've got a hole with a little trick. And if I'd like to make the opening larger, I can go to modify, press and pull, click on the inside face. I can hold and click if I want to get that face selected. And I can drag, make that opening a little bit bigger, say OK. Turn on my chord, I can see the chord's going to go in there nicely. Alright, now I can right click and do appearance. And I want to do, maybe I'll make this blue. Let's go, we'll keep it classic. We'll do black. Say close. Now we've got the mouse. We've got the chord, we've got the bottom, we've got the top. We've got the wheel, and it's looking pretty good.